is actually a flash noseband. So you see this little deal here? This is called a flash noseband, and it has a strap that goes around below as well and helps to hold the horse's mouth closed. I rarely will use what I call the bottom part of the flash. I usually just pull it off. If you know you're never going to use it again, you can always cut off on one of these. There it is. I cut it off. So if you know you're never going to use the bottom part of the flash, you can cut that little guy off. You can cut this little ring off. It's totally fine. Or you can leave it on there, and that's totally fine as well. And if you ever need help keeping the horse's mouth closed, you can always use the bottom part of the flash. I try not to. We talked about this with Dom in the Dom video that in the olden days, not in the olden days, but a bit ago, there was a fad where everybody was trying to crank the horse's mouths closed. And that's out of favor now, I think, I hope. And so we're really not using the bottom part of the flash as much, but the bottom part of the flash is standard dressage equipment. So if you see a horse going around in a German training snaffle and the bottom part of the flash is on there, it's totally okay. It's very traditionally dressage. If you go to a dressage show, you're going to see that. Absolutely positive. Very, very quickly, let's talk about this particular noseband, because remember I told you it's a crank. So he came to me with this crank noseband. They are all the rage right now, or at least they were for the dressage bridles. I will search for a dressage bridle that just has a regular cavesson or a flash noseband. Take the bottom part of the flash off. I don't like the cranks because look at all this extra leather. It's just sort of a pain in the Watusi. So the point of the crank is so that you can crank the noseband closed to keep the horse's mouth closed. But we don't really do that anymore, or at least we prefer not to. So there's just a lot of extra moving parts. All right, so this has to go through a little ring. You don't have to look at it. Then it has to come around here. Then it has to buckle through this. I would have been long done with my other noseband by now. Then we tuck this in. But you have all this extra stuff going on, and most likely what's going to happen is that's going to shift, and it's going to end up like that. And it's kind of ugly. So no reason to use a crank. You don't need a crank. Get a regular noseband. Because the because the bridle came with the crank, I left it on. All right, so I just undid the crank.